have been someone else for a lot of people for so long. And I never knew who I was until I got tired of crashing. Trying to fill a void with someone else's laughter or smile and not your own is dangerous. And it's not funny when they say, all of y'all or they, them, oh, what the hell, it. No, it's they, them. Those are my pronouns. And that's it. When I move, that's when you should move. When I stand up, or if I stand up with me, match my movements to let me know that you're there. That's what I mean by being there. Like Black people need to stop acting as if we are these fortresses of everything. Like we're supposed to just take it and take it and take it. The harder you run from yourself will be the harder you run into yourself. For me, my experience, when they say, they is plural, I said, yes, because I am everything and I am everyone.
Happy hello, and welcome to another wonderful episode of your Heard It Here podcast with me, VTC Heard. It is so many things going on this month. It's Pride, it's Black Music Month, it's July, it's almost Cancer season. I'm just saying. But happy birthdays to the Geminis. But I'm super excited because today I have such a wonderful old friend, but old friends are sometimes the best friends. And they are such an amazing person. They're an artist. They are a community advocate. They are fabulous. No, let's not say less. Because if you saw what I saw just now in that intro video, I would like to wear a hat like that, and also to just have that type of finesse. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, without further ado, I would love to introduce you to Mix Chris Thomas.
Hi.
Hello. How are you today?
I am doing good. And you're jumping the gun here. You get all these wonderful words, and I'm just like, and here I am. Here I am.
Yes, you are. You are here, honey, and you belong here. And I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm super excited to have you on, one, within our revamp, but then two, just to be able to connect with you because it's been a while. But I'm excited.
Yeah, it has been a very long while, and you look marvelous, darling. I just want to point that out. You look
Oh, thank you.
absolutely exquisite, and I'm loving this. Like a completely different person from where I saw you long ago up until where you are now. You're glowing, and I love
Oh,
this in
thank
you.
you. I'm gonna say it's a lot of prayer, a lot of therapy, because you can't have one without the other. Okay, you gotta have some prayer and you gotta have some therapy. It takes both, and I will definitely attribute that to a lot of my support circle and upcoming with some new life changes with my move and my partner, and I'm super excited. So entering like some nice new phases. It's
And
nice.
we love this. We love this. Yes, I'm over here fighting COVID. But yeah, yeah.
The fact
That's
that you get to be here and speak even while having COVID, I tremendously thank you and appreciate you and wish you much fast recovery because I know that has not to be fun.
it's not. I wanted to look fabulous for you and give you the mixed Chris experience, but this is what I could do. I'm here.
Well, you still look fabulous. Either way, you still do look fabulous. I begin to start to tell myself that I still make ugly look good because we always have this version of what ugly is in our head, even though we don't
Yes.
feel like ourselves. Because when I couldn't get my nails done for about 2 weeks, I was telling James, I'm like, I feel busted. And he's like, you don't. I was like, I don't know. I know you don't think I do, but right now I just don't feel like me. When I finally start getting those little small things here and there, I'm like, okay, cool. At least if I'm in a t-shirt, no makeup on, I'm just chilling. At least my nails are done. At least my eyebrows is done. So it's little, it's still giving something in this moment. But you are still giving realness and your backgrounds. I'm loving the Looney Tunes and all of the artwork. because
That's actually one of my favorite paintings, the Looney Tunes ones. I was like, because that's actually my life. So
a painting. Oh, I thought it was like, you know how sometimes they have like the art, like, you know, at Hobby Lobby or like
yeah,
Marshalls. Like, I
this
didn't
is a
know it's an
painting.
actual painting.
Yeah.
That is gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. My friend
Yeah,
Anna painted this. So yeah, shout out to Anna.
I might be hiring Anna. I was talking to Anna about some things. I need some things for my new house, child. All right, let's get into it. So, well, we see how you are right now. We also too again wish you a fast recovery. But let's get into your background because we have your bio posted below as well as all of your social links. But you have so many different accolades, and I don't know we'll be able to fill it all into an hour, but I would love to discuss your background within like the mental health sector, as well as how poetry interconnects with that and dealing with child abuse.
I'm just gonna start from the beginning then. I started writing poetry at age 13 to grasp my emotions. I am a survivor of child abuse. I am also a mental health advocate as I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder as well. And poetry was something that I could rely on. It was the one thing that did not talk back, did not make me feel less than I was already being made to feel. It did not bully me. It did not chastise me. It gave me an opportunity to put emotions that I did not understand into a home and into a structured home. And I dare say the first home I ever had that was stable. And I ever since then, what started out as a hobby, it flourished into something bigger. Because once I started performing, people started to walk up to me and telling me that, you know, you've told my story, you know, this happened to me, or this happened to someone who I've known, or it was someone crying because they couldn't find the words. And that made me feel seen for the very first time, honestly, when I started having those interactions with those individuals. And what started out as a hobby revealed itself as something bigger, something more powerful than I have ever harnessed in my entire life. And I was still didn't know quite then what was going on. But as I grew older, I started going to open mics and I started sharing my story more. And then having people walk up to me again doing the same exact thing, I was like, okay, I get it. I have a story and I'm sharing this story. And there are people who have not had the opportunity or who were too scared or who just made a decision not to share their story either out of fear, either because they were told not to, or they were just told to get over it. So I made a conscious decision at a very early age not to do that for me and to have that kind of connection with someone and to usher them into a place where they felt comfortable enough just to tell me if I was the only person they ever told. That was good enough for me. That made me feel good. That validated my work. So that is my connection with mental health, child abuse prevention, and poetry.
I love that you talked about a lot of things there. One being a safe space, because a lot of us, especially even through as children and through teenagers, we go through some really tough things within the darkness that we hope to never, that I think sometimes even when we're in the darkness we never think about bringing them to light, or we're constantly told and ingrained in us that we can't bring them to light, whether it been like a bad relationship, or we also heard the famous expression, whatever goes on in this house stays in this house.
Yes.
And we never heal when we don't talk about the things that go on in this house or what go on in the darkness, because there's no light to shine on the actual situation to get help. So I appreciate you being that safe space for people and for others, that they feel comfortable enough to share those things with you, because that does indeed help them and help them heal. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for those words.
I have a question because coming off of, Mental Health Awareness Month, I've been having a few conversations with individuals about the acknowledgement of living with a mental illness. You had said that you were diagnosed with bipolar disorder. What is it? Can you, for those, I mean, of course, we all know everyone has the internet and they can look it up, but to see such a wonderful person like you, and a lot of times we don't always put a face to these illnesses because we always never, not always, I'll just say sometimes we never look like what we go through. What is it like living with bipolar disorder? And could you tell us and the listeners what that is?
Living with bipolar disorder, and this is my experience, it is, I'm at a constant amusement park. It's so much going on. It is so much stimulation. It is so little time to enjoy every ride. And with that, sometimes when you go to the amusement parks when you're a child, you want to ride every ride, but then you can't because height requirement or it's just not enough time. And with that, it upsets you, and when a child will start crying, and that's how I will explain my lows with bipolar disorder. And then there are moments when I actually have extreme highs when I'm actually on that ride. It's that adrenaline rush sitting in the very front car of a roller coaster. And you're just getting that pumping of adrenaline and you just feel like you're on top of the world and you're just enjoying it. You're scared, but you don't care because you feel secure, even if it doesn't feel secure enough, but you feel secure while on that ride in that first car. Your arms are flailing in the wind, you're screaming, you're enjoying, your eyes are closed, you're just going for it. That's the mania part of bipolar disorder. And sometimes it can be very isolating because no one understands either side. And then it can also feel like you're trying to, for me, when I first was diagnosed, I was trying to make sense of it and sharing it with, sharing the experience of what I've experienced with other people and them not understanding. And God bless them because they didn't know. So this is no stab at them, just minimizing the feelings that I was feeling. Like, no, it's sometimes I was like, it was said, oh, it's just a feeling and feelings come and go. That's not what that is. It's a feeling that's actually screaming and don't know which way to go. And it's like it was tearing me apart. So it was my constant amusement park. And some days it was a good day, other days it was a bad day. Some days the rides were broken. Some days all the rides were open. Some days you only have a limited portion of rides. And then other days it was let me know you have to be qualified for this ride. That's my experience with, and that's how I also describe my bipolar disorder.
Thank you for sharing that because I love the analogy because when you were talking about that and about the amusement parks, I'm a big amusement park fan. The only amusement park I could think about was the Six Flags here in PG County because that's kind of what it was always like. Like every no matter what time of the season you went to Six Flags, like your ride sometimes was working, so Superman was running, or sometimes it wasn't. The Batwing was you could ride it, or someone would
Mm-hmm.
ride it, and all of a sudden, nope, can't ride it no more. Or this half the park is open, or it's not. And I think that was a great analogy because it can really resonate with people with trying to understand what that is because everyone loves the amusement park, everyone loves the fair, but we also understand the craziness that happens
Yes.
inside of amusement park. We understand like sometimes how crowded it can be, and even when you're in a sea of people, you still sometimes may feel alone, especially when you feel separated from your family or the people that you came in with, and just trying to navigate like yourself, your mind, the stimulations through everything that's happening because there's so much to see. There's so much you want to try, you want to do, you want to eat, but you don't know what to do first. So then comes probably in that extra anxiety and then the pressure of, okay, well, I came here this time and my sister said I had to get on the Superman. If I ain't on the Superman, then I'm
And I'm
not
gonna
like,
do it. And I'm gonna
yeah,
do
right,
it. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
do
do it. I'm gonna do it.
it.
Get here, and I'm just like looking kind of high.
I'm
Oh,
like,
she's
I don't want to do it now. Let me off. And
yeah.
that's honestly how fast that can happen. Honestly, because with bipolar disorder, And again, I'm speaking from my experience. I can be
Mhm.
on a high, right? My high can be incredible. I can feel like I'm about to build an entire neighborhood. And then all of a sudden, just like that, it can just drop all the way to a low. And I can sink into a depression real quick. The longest I've been in a low, one of my lowest spells, it was for 90 days. That was last year. And it was it started May of last year because it was a few weeks after my book release. And I fell into a low for 90 days and I was depressed. I could not pull myself out of the bed to do anything. And I'm big on teeth, and and everyone who knows me know I am never without floss and I'm always brushing my teeth.
Mhm.
I couldn't do it. I just could not I couldn't brush my teeth. And even down to me trying to eat something, if I did eat, I couldn't even floss what was in my teeth. I couldn't floss out what was in my teeth. Like it was just hard because I was exerting so much energy trying to exist in one part, and then everything else just fell. And I went through that for 90 days.
I love the fact that you brought up the fact that it happened right after your book release, which is something that is so congratulations. That's so phenomenal. That's such a happy moment. That's such a pivotal moment in your life. Like you're an author. I'm releasing these books. I worked hard on this, and I even know when last year I released mine, I fell into something similar because I had got injured, and people were saying like, "But you just did all these things. Why are you feeling like this? Why do you look like this?" But when you bring up the fact there's like sometimes you have these little things about you, and when
Hmm.
you can't do those things, when you said floss, I think for me, if I'm not getting up and listening to music that makes me feel good, like it's either Lizzo, Beyonce, it's like a certain playlist. If I'm not listening to something on that playlist every day, and even if I am listening to it, I'm not getting up and like really feeling it, I know there's something off. But when you're in those oppressive states, it's hard to really explain because you can't, sometimes you just really can't explain. It's just, I feel off today. I just don't have the energy. And things could be going really well. Opportunity could be coming in, like things could be knocking on your door, like all these great things to still be happening. It doesn't take away the fact that you aren't grateful or you aren't appreciative. There's just something in your makeup that it just is a switch that just happens, that I'm guessing also too for probably bipolar disorder, that it just happens and you can't really control it or explain it. It just happens at random.
Well, thankfully for the power of pharmaceutical technology is manageable. Um,
That's good.
I am on a regimen of medication for it, but even with that, I still have the mood swings. There are
Mhm.
days that I have mood swings. Like earlier today, I was manic, and then I fell out the mania, and then just hit a moderate low, and then I'm here now. And but the medicine does help a lot to regulate
That's
the
good.
mood the mood stabilizing. So I'm very thankful. I'm a fan of pharmaceutical technology when it comes to this. And and everybody has their own methods of how they
Mhm.
medicate for their mental health. And I'm a fan of, if it's working for you and you know what your stressors are, you even know what your triggers are, and you know what's pushing you or what dials you back, and you have an action plan and a treatment plan in place, I applaud you, because it's a lot of hard work managing a mental illness. It's a lot of hard work, especially if you don't have the support system that you know is beneficial to how you're feeling and where you are currently. Like there are several people in my life right now. They know if I do go through a depression state and I tell one of them that I feel it coming on, everyone automatically is activated by that one person.
Mm,
One of my friends have a key to my apartment complex and to my apartment building. And so they know they don't hear from me in a couple of days or even a day. They are to come over and check automatically. and everyone else knows who to call, who to alert, and everything. This is the type of system that I have set up for me because that's my treatment plan. That's my action plan with my mental health. And then even vice versa. They know if I don't hear from them, I'm going to activate everyone in their circle to go see what's going on with them as well. And so it's just being, for me, it's just a little conscious things that actually put things in place to keep it going, because mental health is nothing to play with. It's nothing to sneeze at. It's nothing to brush under the rug. It's not, as the Black families say, it's not a white people thing. It's an everybody thing. And we, especially we Black people, need to stop acting as if we are these fortresses of everything. Like we're supposed to just
Preach.
take it and take it and take it. Cars are built with shocks so they can absorb the shock so they won't break. Why can't we as Black people adopt that metaphorical thought process for ourselves so we can actually be up in arms for our, not up in arms, but protective over ourselves and our well-being, even down to our circle. And I'm also a fan. If I, you said earlier, I'm a safe space. That's even down to me picking and choosing the people who are currently in my life. I can't call myself a safe space if I'm allowing this person in my circle
Mm.
doing something that I know that I'm against. That I'm not a safe space. I'm not in a safe space with stipulations. I'm an act, and I don't want to be an act. You know, I have to make sure everything around me is situated in a way where my mental health is one priority. I'm priority. The people in my life who I have chosen to be in my life for my mental health is a priority, and vice versa. I can't allow any stupidity, let's I'll just say that word, or anything in that way just to come into my circle and to be in my circle, because what it's not going to solve anything. It's going to add to the confusion and the madness, and I and they don't need that.
I just wanted to sit for a second because oh, that was so powerful. I'm sitting over here just like preach, please preach, because you better speak on it. I'm trying to remember everything you said because I feel just so touched. I'm like, oh, somebody else, yeah, say it, please say it for the folks in the back. Let them hear that we are not fortresses. I want to be in my soft girl era. That's why I toned down the colors. I may brighten it up a bit, but I want to be in my soft girl era. I don't want to keep being hard so much. I don't. I don't like it. I don't. And I've ruffled some feathers within the past couple of months. And guess what? I don't care because I said what I said. I'm a Nene Leak said. I said what I said. I'm tired of always masking everything, even though I'm not gonna say even though, scratch that. I'm tired of masking everything behind, like, just pray about it and stop worrying. Or if you're praying about it, if you're really truly praying about it, and if you trust God, then it shouldn't bother you like that. It's okay if it bothers me. It doesn't mean that I trust Him any less. It just means I'm human with emotions. I'm allowed to have those. Let me go through the motions and let me at least just get it out. And the fact that you're able to have that type of community, that just support circle that you do have, and all of you have that check-in system with each other, I think that's very important to take the conscious route of that, because it starts with some self-awareness. But without the self-awareness, even if you don't have that diagnosis, at least try and go get that help to see what it is that you need. If you don't know what you need in that moment, just say you don't know what you need. I'm still in this very month looking for what is my outlet. I know I can talk to people. I have like my partner, my dogs, but I don't really have an outlet that's mine, because
Mhm.
poetry became work, kind of, in a sense. As much as I love creating, it's still another part of my work. So it's not as freeing as it used to be when I first started writing. I like, creating things and, watching stuff, but still, it's still another part that's connected to work. And when you talk about the mental health aspect of it, and always thinking that we just have to keep taking it and taking it, I'm still working through with my therapist on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, trying to accept that rest is not a reward, but a requirement because it's been so ingrained into me as I start working when I was 13 years old. I always had to work, 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 put everybody else first, not put myself first, and just continue to go on the goal. When I don't meet that goal, I start to crash and I get into that depressive state. And I can't get out of bed when I'm like, crap, I didn't meet this goal or this pressure that's I feel like it's outside pressure when I've like compared myself to other people, but it's also just the pressure I put on myself, how it makes me spiral. But I'm so admirable that you had a type of plan like that in place because I don't have one like that. I struggle with anxiety and depression that stems from earlier trauma that I dealt with from domestic violence relationship and eating disorder, but I don't know what that plan looks like because I'm always been on the go, go, go. But now I'm like in a space where, okay, I can go into a different space, be by myself, well, and someone else. But what does that look like? How did you get to just the action steps or the mindset of getting to the plan of hey, this is the key to my apartment. This is the phrase. How did you get there? Because like, I'm very curious, but also I know that there's people that probably need to hear that.
I got tired of crashing. And a lot of my work, a good majority of my work, is centered around educating adults on child sexual assault. And I do a lot of speaking engagements that involve me telling
Mm-hmm.
my story of survival and my story of abuse. And a lot of times people say, oh, you're so together. People don't understand what it takes to talk, first of all, to even to educate an adult on how to respond, recognize, and react to child sexual assault when you're a survivor of that. One, because or even talking about the long lasting effects of child abuse, and or even talking about child abuse period with sharing my story. It's a lot of re-traumatizing that goes on with that, because I have to continuously peel back scars. I have to reopen wounds. I really have to dig deep inside of myself again with former chapters of my life to tell this story, or to even to educate the adult, or to even be an advocate. I have to do all of that, and I don't mind doing it, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I found myself crashing. I found myself just falling. And then, like you said earlier, what's my outlet? Because poetry was an outlet, but then poetry became a job. And I'm very thankful for it. Do not get me wrong. I'm very thankful for it.
Absolutely.
But it's now like, now that this outlet has become this, what's my new outlet? What do I do? And I just, like I said, I just got tired of crashing. And so now I watch a lot of cartoons. That's my outlet. Okay,
I
that's my
love cartoons.
and I just dig deep in that, or I'll even play lo-fi music. And I have two darling cats, Gray and General,
Aw.
and and I just spend time with them. That's my outlet. But sometimes that outlet did not secure a strong enough safety net for me. So one day I spiraled so bad that I was in the middle of my living room floor in fetal position, just crying. And this was right after a speaking engagement. And I'd never told this story until now. And I'm in the middle of my floor, literally, and I am balls eye crying and screaming and kicking. And I'm just losing my mind. And then I just felt a presence come over me and touch my back. And it calmed me down. And once I did that, I sat up Indian style in the middle of the floor and still crying. And once I finished crying, I said, I have to do something because I don't want to stop doing this. There are people who need to see that there is life after. but I also have to worry about my life as well, and my protection, and my boundaries, and my laws of consent as well. So that's when that action plan thought came into play. That's when I started people who were very near, and people who were very near, very close, who truly understood, who did check in. And like I went through a Rolodex of them all, who like were their actual, the closest, the strongest, who actually knew, who understood, who could I truly rely on with this. I went through this whole Rolodex of people, and that brought me out of that spiral. Honestly, it really brought me out of that spiral. And I just started writing down the names of these people. And then I called them at first my anchor. These are the people who I know I can rely on. These are the people who I know who have my back. These are people who I know who want to see me win, who want not just with the work that I do, but want to see me win as a person in general. And I said, so this is my circle of people. And I really did. I interviewed them all, even though I love them dearly. They're very close. I still had to go through a process. I interviewed each and every single one of them without them knowing, and I chose the best ones for me. And even now to the one friend that has the key to my apartment, that because that's something, they're not that close to me, but when I say close to me, I mean in miles distance. But trust me, the way they drive, they will be here like that.
We all got friends like that.
And in addition to that, they also have my landlord's personal phone number. So they know what to do. They know everything, what they should have to do. And everyone in my circle have each other's phone numbers and contact information. Even now, if I go to the emergency room, one of them is listed as my emergency contact. So everyone knows what they play a very pivotal role in everything that is my mental health and health, period. So it was just a very fine selection, interviewing who's best for you, who's your fit. Because your best friend, say for instance, your best friend, right? Your best friend may not be that person, and that's okay. It doesn't mean they're not, the best person in the world for you, but in that moment, they may not be the best person, because you need someone who actually understands and who knows, who actually gets it. And I mean, gets it to the point when they actually know what to say, know how to say it, and know how to respond to you, either whether it's going to be verbal or physically. Example, most people, when we're depressed, we don't have the words. We just cry sometimes. And we don't want someone to say anything. We just want someone to sit there with us. And you don't have to sit beside me, just be in the room with me, just so I won't feel alone, right? That person, I say, and then should just take it a step further. When I move, that's when you should move. When I stand up, or if I stand up with me, match my movements to let me know that you're there. That's what I mean by being there. Like, really break it down.
I am absolutely moved by that because a few things stood out to me when you said that. You said you were interviewing people without actually having them knowing that you were interviewing them. And even the fact of you bringing up that, depending on whoever is in your life in the moment, sometimes even if it's your best friend might not be that best person. It brought me back to, I want to say, a few years ago. Um, we rekindled our friendship back then, but we were best friends at the time. I had told her something that was really devastating to me at the time. When I told her, her response to me, I'll say it wasn't what I wanted, because hindsight, 2020. And even after us like rehashing and talking about it, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I expected. But I also had put that relationship on such a pedestal where she felt pressure from me, and I gave her unrealistic expectations. Instead of looking at her for the person that she was and what she was able to handle in moments like that. And in that type of moment, when I told her the news that I had told her, it was more so as, I'm not looking for you to say anything. I just kind of want you to be here just to be here. It's cool. We could just be around each other. But she didn't know what to do in that moment. And after we spoke about it, it was a moment of clarity and us moving forward and discussing what the communication would be like, what we would need. But I did have to look at people differently that were around me, of who can I actually trust with certain situations, or who could I actually be around when I'm in these type of situations, so that way it also doesn't like kick me into another one of my anxiety spirals. Because when my anxiety hits, all it takes is one thought, and it's literally like I'm like Alice in Wonderland going down the rabbit hole, and it will continuously go and go and go and go and go, and I will not stop. I will go through all the doors. I'm gonna pop off all the bottles. I'm gonna eat all the cookies. Like, that's how I just describe, like, sometimes when I'm having like an anxiety filled moment, and I spiral. Those are the type of spirals that'll happen. And then in the midst of trying all these things, I start blaming my all of the thoughts that I worked so hard to keep at bay. They start coming back, and the self doubt. I start blaming myself, and I start overthinking the situation. And it takes me sometimes days to get out of that. But how do you interview someone? Because I think someone's probably asking that question now. How do you interview someone for this type of task without letting them know you're interviewing them?
I had to do it a very tricky way. Because my people know. So, but I had to do it a very tricky way. And oh my God, when when they hear this, um, I would just bring up a moment. I'm like, remember that time we went to so and so and we did so and how, something happened that night and you automatically just snatched me up out the situation because you said this is not where we need to be. And I said, you know what? I thought about that the other day. What made you do that? Like, I'm very curious because I really wanted to experience that, but you wouldn't let me experience it. Why would you snatch me away from a moment like that? That could have been like, yes, for my life, but you wouldn't let me experience that. Tell me why. And they will respond. And then I'm like, and I honestly went down a checklist. I was like, nope, you're not the one. Okay, maybe you are the one. Yes, you are truly the one. I went down a checklist like that. Like, and I even gave them scenarios, even that with me being gay, because some of my friends have called themselves an ally. And I end up telling them that no, you're not an ally, you're a lie, but that's okay. We'll get there. And
Wait,
so
you said ally, not an ally.
yeah,
Oh
you're
God.
a lie. You're not an ally. You're a lie, and it's okay. And guess what? It's okay. It's all right. You still have room to grow, but don't use words you don't know the true meaning of, because an ally does not. An ally won't say I'm an ally for you, and then but also think there's room for them to say something to you that you're fighting against already.
Can you give us an example? Because then my next question after that would be, what do you think makes a good ally of the LGBTQIA community, and how can we be better allies and better supporters?
In the LGBTQIA community, and I am a 43-year-old individual.
Stop
I
lying.
grew. I am.
You're not 43.
I am. I'll be 44 in a couple of months. Um, I have been called every name in the book. Sissy, punk, faggot, God's mistake. I've been called it all because of my homosexuality, right? And I've had friends, air quote, who, thought in conversation that it was okay to use words like that when we were talking, and would feel very comfortable with calling me, or with, saying stupid stuff like, fudge packer and, stuff like that. Right. And then in the same breath, oh, I can say that because I'm an ally. No, you're about to be punched in the mouth.
Whoa, what?
That's
That
what's going
don't
to
even go together.
It doesn't.
That does
That's
not
what
go
I
together.
mean. That's what I mean when I say you're not an ally, you're a lie, because you're using words And I'm not, you're using words you don't know the meaning of, and I'm not going to say that you wouldn't fight for me, but you're not fighting for me. You're not somebody who I would really want to go down in the trenches with me. Maybe the streets, maybe the trenches, no, because there are those are two separate things.
Yeah.
And, so that's what I mean by ally and ally. You still have work to do. I'm not saying that your heart's not in it, but you still have work to do. Because if you think it's okay to use derogatory terms like that with me and say, oh, I can say that because I'm an ally and you're my friend, well, then I can punch you in your mouth because I'm your friend. You
I
know, because my entire life I have been dogged with names like that. And even now, being non binary, people have made jokes, and it's not funny when they say, all of y'all or they, them, oh, what the hell, it. No, it's they, them. Those are my pronouns. And that's it. That is it. There's no waffling, there's no question. I understand if you have questions about the pronouns, I will help you. But for you to sit there and think that you can say certain things and think you're going to get away with it, who the hell are you talking to?
That's the part I'm not getting, because I had to, one, be educated myself. Um, I've always saw the world a bit differently, even as a Christian woman who, I'm non-denominational, I'm more spiritual. I attend a Baptist church, but I've always saw the world not as black and white, or it's absolutely everything. The world just absolute, because I don't. But this, to me, I know the God that I serve, and I know the experiences that I have, and I understand that He loves us all. And if He made us all in His image, He absolutely made every single person on this earth, and He absolutely made no mistakes. What I don't understand is, if you're an ally, that you use words like that when there are words like that we're trying to fight against.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll even be the same in the black community. And I know I'm guilty of this, because I've said, the N word here and there, sometimes within comedic sense, or in a um, we get those like angry rants behind the car and whatnot. But I'm always quick to, what, okay, Lord, forgive me, or correct myself. But that, just because you're an ally, does not give you freedom to use those type of words. And even I do know, I worked at what was it, Beta Fitness, for a few years in DC, where I interacted with a lot of the members and the staff who would educate me on said community. That I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know how to better support. Like, people want to be who they are. Like, you can have the freedom to be who you are. And I heard words like that used within community, but I always still stood outside of it. Like, it's not my place to use said words like that, because I also know I don't know what type of exact emotions from a sense of empathy that would bring, but I can sense it with, like, have sympathy for that, because I know how people could, I know what it's like to feel marginalized against, and also to just discriminated against for the color of your skin, or who you like and what you love and whatnot, and to have it done on so many different levels. Why would you think that's okay to use words like that, even more so towards a person that you love, which will quote unquote be your friend? That doesn't,
It
the
doesn't
two,
make sense.
the math ain't mathin'.
What I hear when I hear stuff like that, you're testing me to see how far you can go, and then also to see how far you can go out into the community to say what you're saying. Or you probably have already said it, but you're just testing me to see what my outcome is going to be. I am from the Nuck If Your Buck area. So I feel as though more safety measures should be taken. And I said area, but from that era, I'm correcting myself, you know, that's all I'm going to say on that. I like I said, I'm an advocate. However, and I never liked playing catch as a child, but you will catch hands if need be.
I mean, hey, I never know enough people care too. That I was, hmm, uh, I was not about that life, because I got pretty much scared the living daylights out of me, because my mom was a police part MPD, so we were always at police camp. So as field trips, they took us to the juvenile detention centers and jails, and I was like, I'm too pretty for this place. I don't like this place. So I always try to steer clear of those type of situations. But that's just not. And I will say I do still have some fight in me when things, because some folks, even nowadays, especially in this era of society that we live in now, that folks get a little loose with their wording. Um, uh, and I have a very, I'll say therapy has helped a bit with my patience, but my tolerance is almost at an all-time low. It's zero almost. So my lawyer's on speed down. And I always make sure that they, if they about to, so something about to happen, you touch me first. But then there are moments where I'm like, oh, you want to go off? And I think I have to remind myself of all the things I have to lose. I'm just like, just walk away, bro. Just walk away. God's get back is way better than yours.
Two of the people
Okay.
actually three of the people in my circle. One is an attorney, another is a police officer, and another is a staunch Christian. And I have found that actually most of them are Christian, really strong Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And I have found that my true allies are Black Christian women. And first of all, shout out to Black women, period. Let's just put it there. Shout out to Black women, period. I have one friend in particular, you know the saying, I will put my Christian on the shelf and we'll worry about it later.
Mm-hmm.
I have one friend that says, I don't have time to put on the shelf. We just got to go about it because you know what? It's going to be right here, right there. And it's whatever. I'll be praying while I'll be whooping your ass. But just know.
That was my grandmother. That was my
and she said, because I ain't got time. She said, that's too much work. It's too much conversation. I just, right now, let's go. That's
grandmother.
her.
She wouldn't even say that. My grandmother would just throw hands and ask questions later. I'm like,
That's
she
it.
calmed down once she started, like, her legs started to give out on her, and because she had to. But there are some times she could still reach around that table real fast, and I was just like, this woman is crazy. Like, I don't have time.
Listen, and then I have another friend that she would just shoot you a look. Another one would just be like, "Oh, really? All right." And then that right there is like, okay, now it's time for you to stop whatever you're
That's a
doing
cue.
because it's and I take them well, and I need you to take them with me. I'm trying to save lives. Just stop. These are the people in my life. Like I said, my support system, every avenue of my life, they are in
Mm-hmm.
there for a reason. And these are the
Uh,
people that you should be surrounded with. Like you need these people. And but yeah, child, ally or a lie. And most of the times they have been a lie. And that's fine because you have told me where I need to put you. And you've told me, and here's the thing, I don't feel that they are bad people. I want to be very clear with that. I want to say that they are not bad people, but at the same time, I'm not going to tolerate that and I'm going to check you. And whether you like it or not, that's not my business. That's for you to deal with. And that's for you and your therapist and your God to deal with. But me right
mm-hmm.
here, I'm not dealing with that. And when people say, well, you're going against God, but the God that I grew up knowing was an all-loving God, and I'm currently
Amen.
I'm agnostic, so I know I don't believe in the traditional God that we grew up on. I do believe there's a higher power, but if your God is telling me that I am going to be the end of everything and that I'm this piece of dirt that's not worthy of life or anything, your God sucks. And I mean that with a straight face. If that's what your God believes and how whatever, your God sucks because the God that I know outpowers and outranks everything that you just said. And like you said earlier, we were all created in God's image. We were all created in God's image. God made not one mistake when he put Christopher Alexandria Bernard Thomas on this planet. Not one mistake was made on August 28th, 1980, when I came out the womb crying. Not one mistake. My existence was already ordained. It was already futurized. I don't know if it's a word or not, but it is today. It was already set in stone that this person is going to be something. And there's nothing anyone can do to deny creation, not one thing.
I love that because one, it you have to have that type of belief in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of
Sometimes we get here though. I ain't gonna lie.
what.
It
Oh
took a minute.
no, no, no! It takes some time now. It takes some
It took a
time.
minute.
Like it's
Whew.
a work in progress. Like it is a work in progress, regardless of what gender or sex you are, or who you serve or what you believe in. You have to have that type of belief in yourself because society, sometimes your environments, your situations, or how life be life in will tell you that you're a mistake, you don't belong here, like you can't do
Mhm.
this, you can't get through this. But if you know that you are not a mistake and you were put on this earth to for a purpose, and like you need to walk within your purpose and love your like it starts within yourself first, and acknowledging those things and to be able to do the work but have the willingness to want to do the work, other things around you become a lot more manageable.
Mhm.
And when that's the reason why I always repeat, like I said, the God that I serve and the one that I know from my experiences, and the one who is constantly with, especially y'all saw in episode 12, how he has constantly built me out. Not only my entire 32 years of life, because we're going to season 32, but especially within the past 5 years, he absolutely loves everybody on this planet. He made everyone on this planet, and he puts all of us in each other's lives for a reason,
Yep.
to be able to help and to assist and to be that corner for someone. Sometimes he is speaking to us through those people, and it's not just a coincidence or a chance. Like it's for a reason, because he knows how much he loves you so much that he knows that you may need this message right now. He knows that you need to be poured into because you poured out from such an empty cup, that you've had so much to pour out to everybody else that you've left no reserve for yourself or even for him to pour into him. We need that. So I appreciate you sharing for that. All the things that we talked about as with your mental health and survive and being surviving the child abuse, and you said something earlier that I just also remembered about how you're always like peeling back the layers and constantly picking at scars. All I can think about, when we were kids, we like uh get like the latest scar on like our leg or our arm. I don't know if it was, maybe it was just me because I'm gross sometimes. I would always like pick at it because it was just, maybe it was the anxiety thing. I would like pick at it, but that's honestly what teaching these healing workshops and teaching how to communicate and teaching survivalship is. You're constantly picking at that scab. What you're doing is purposeful work. You're impacting so many lives, and you're making a difference. You're making a change because you know that what you went through, you don't want that to be somebody else's future, but it does affect you. So you have to have those outlets. Now we wrap all of this up into Mix Chris Thomas. You had talked about earlier about um being queer and not now also too non-binary. How did that affect, if you're comfortable with sharing it as well, how did it affect your coming out journey? And then was there a difference in how people treated you within your profession and also too within your personal life?
I'll start acknowledging that my queerness at an early age, that didn't bother me because I always knew from a very early age that I was, queer. I just never knew the word for it. I just knew that I was very queer. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. My favorite singers, Janet Jackson, Tina Turner, George Michael, Boy George and Culture Club. All the icons. It was there, right? It was, if the recipe was there. My mom loved Sylvester. It was there, and I think I had a very. My mom knew, but again. and she was very protective over me, and I strongly believe that was why, because she knew that I was going to grow up in a world where I was going to be ridiculed for being queer. May my mom soul rest in peace. I also feel she knew that she was not going to be here to protect me. And so with that, I acknowledged I was queer at age 16 because I got tired of hearing people speculate. That includes family of origin as well. I just got tired of hearing people speculate. So I just say, you know what? Yeah, I am. And, that's the kind of
Not the
attitude I took
end.
with it. That's the kind of attitude I took with it. Right. And non-binary was the same way. As a child, I never understood gender. I never understood why boys had to be associated with blue and girls had to be associated with pink. Why can't boys play with Barbie dolls? Why can't, little girls play with GI Joes and Transformers? Why are we assigning, masculinity and femininity to children and not letting them just be a child and explore? Why are we assigning these terminologies, masculinity and femininity, to them when neither one determines if one is a boy or a girl at all? Because masculinity and femininity are not a gender, it's an action applied to the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I never understood that. But growing up, I had to go with the he because I didn't, whatever. So as time went on, and again, I did not identify as non binary until last year. And because I had this conversation yesterday with a friend. I was telling them that I have been someone else for a lot of people for so long. And I never knew who I was until later on in life. And even when I was told, stop acting like someone, or, stop being this, stop being this. And then when I did try, to exist for me, I was called weird. I was made fun of. I was little things. Then it went right back to where it was, under the thumb of someone else. Let me be clear when I say this. I always had a mouth. I stood up for myself, but I was always under someone's thumb and scrutiny. And I don't know how to really explain that for everyone to understand. But once I started to break free from that, I really started to unlearn every single solitary thing that was pushed on me as a child on up to my early adulthood. And that's from friends, that's from teachers, that's from school, that's from family, that's even from myself. I had to unlearn that. And to be honest, I'm still unlearning it. And identifying now as non binary, it feels marvelous. You know, I tell people, for me, my experience, when they say, they is plural, I said, yes, because I am everything and I am everyone. Okay. I am, I am
I love it.
everything. I am all of that. Yes, I am. You are absolutely right.
You better speak
I
on
am.
her. I love it.
You can't contain me with a word or with a terminology. I am all that. And just owning that power now at this stage of my life, it feels so good knowing that I have full authority over it and no one else does. And I don't, and I know sometimes some people do misgender me because it's not, with some it has not been malicious. It's just been, they've been used to he for a long time with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's like, okay, oh, and they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's, I'm not gonna bite your head off, whatever. But and they're actually now in the process of educating themselves now on gender terminology and more LGBTQIA terminology because of that, to be of a better person in my life. And when I introduce myself to people, I say, hi, my name is Chris. My pronouns are they, them, just so we actually have it out in the open so we know there's no waffling about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been a bit of a struggle, but it hasn't been that tough to where I've actually had to be the Tasmanian devil on anything or with any situation. But I'm enjoying the fact that I am now hang gliding on this power. And I am now high fiving mountains because I have actually accepted this about me. And I'm acknowledging certain parts and learning these parts about me. Carving my name into the skyline is a beautiful thing. And I love it. And I never thought in a million years I would be here saying all of this to anyone. Never.
Did you just coach yourself? Because I just want to say, high fiving mountains and carving my name into the skyline. I'm like, I wish I wrote that. That was good. And I'm like, I'm sitting over here. I'm just like, I feel so fuzzy and warm and just happy. I feel glowy inside. Because when you said the high five mountains, I said that is powerful. I want to high five a mountain. I want to high five a mountain. I want to carve my name into the skylight because the way. First of all, I'm so proud of you. I'm just um un unspokenly. We're gonna make up our own words here today because you just spoke such life
Excuse me.
into me and to I know a lot of listeners. Just listening to how it seems like through over the years and over this process, even while life was lifing and dealing with your mental health and still working and adulting, you took back your power for yourself. You said something about being something for everyone. And I think we all can resonate with that because when you start to peel back the layers of yourself, and unlearn bad behaviors, you realize you were doing certain things to either please or get the approval, or because you're trying to prove somebody wrong, or this pissed this person off, or you were doing it for somebody else versus really doing it for yourself. And to see you in the space of doing it for yourself is just a beautiful, absolute glorifying space to see. It's like to see.
Trying to fill a void with someone else's laughter or smile and not your own is dangerous because that void just gets larger and larger because you find yourself doing more and more. When I, long time ago, I was 23 at the time and I just started seeing a psychiatrist and I wouldn't talk to her for some reason. I just would not talk. She was a sweet lady. I love Dr. Hussein. Shout out Dr. Hussein. And I just would never talk to her. She said something in our third session and I heard it, but I did not listen to those words until I was 30. And she said to me, the harder you run from yourself will be the harder you run into yourself.
Run it
And
back, run it back. Hold on, run it back, run it back.
the harder you run from yourself will be the harder you run into yourself.
Mm.
And I did not, I heard that. I heard that phrase, heard it, did not listen until I was 30. And then when I turned 30, everything was like, middle fingers in the air. I don't like you. I don't like you. You're cool. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. That's how it was. And then as time went on, I started to really, truly, honestly make sense, started to make sense truly more of what happened to me. I'm not in that space anymore. I don't have to do this for people no more. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to listen to you. You're still cool, but I don't have to listen to you either. I'm going to listen to Chris. What does Chris want? What does Chris like? Hell, what is Chris's real favorite color? These are the things that I was actually doing for me. And then I now live by my own personal quote: your pain may know you, but it has no power over you. And those words and Dr. Hussein's quote circulate in my mind daily. Even when I'm at my lowest, those words circulate around me daily because I'm not there anymore. I'm not there anymore. I'm not. I chose to become a lotus, to push through that mud, to say hello to the sun. I chose to do that. I chose to let go of all that pain. I chose to start bridging that gap between victim and trauma survivor. I chose that. I made those decisions. I start taking my power back. I don't say I start taking my power back because I always had my power. I just let them convince me that I did not. I started to realize my power and I started using it for the betterment and the building of me and for what I wanted and how I wanted it and on the terms of which I would accept it. And I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still navigating a lot, but I'm loving the space that I'm in. I'm oh my God, I can't put it in words. I really cannot. But I'm
You're just making me feel so
loving.
like you make me feel brighter than my jacket, like inside, because it's just such powerful. Like, well, I'm not just gassing you up to say how much you're speaking into me. To say your pain may know you, but it has no power over you. Because I'm saying life has been lifing. I know we had talked a little bit before we got like actually started recording about like moving and everything, but I love the fact I still don't believe you're 43. You know, I know you was in the 80s. I know that math, but you know the how fabulous you look. That math don't math. Because again, even though like I know we all, I said earlier, you know, we don't look like what we go through, but you look so beautiful. You always look gorgeous, but just again, you know, it really is. You know, it's just in the genes. Hey, you know, it doesn't crack.
You
I
know,
that you pointed out. I love the fact you pointed out that it's still like you know you heard it. You heard something at 23. At 30, it meant something different, and as over time got on, like you really started to hone into understand it. Because when I felt like once I had hit 30, I, and it's probably is a lot of people too. If you didn't have your life like here, where society told you you had to have it at 30, and you were still trying to figure out some stuff, or you thought you were figuring out some stuff a year, some months, and some months, and some months, and some time, and time later, you still realize, damn, I still ain't figured that part out yet. That still doesn't make sense. Oh, now it actually clicks. Okay, now this is actually clicking. And to hear that that's actually okay, and your peers go through it, and people around you are actually going through that, I feel like we should really talk about that more because maybe people won't feel so alone.
and
Because
you
I'm
know, I've learned also not to put a rush on the moment. Just let the
mhm.
moment, just let it be. That's it. Don't pressure yourself to go further in the moment. Just let that moment be what that moment is. Like this right here, this interaction here, it's just what it is. It's two people having a very candid, open conversation, and we're feeding each other. You
Mhm.
know, it's circulation. I'm learning from you, you're learning from me, the viewers are learning. You know, it's just let it be what that moment is and just take and just rest in it. Rest in it. You know, meditate on it. You know, journal about it. What did you get from this? What were your takeaways? How is what I said impacting you and how do you feel about it? And then the
Mhm.
same versus, and then it's vice versa for me. You know, just let the moment be what it is. When you hit your 40s, oh my gosh, I look, it is the level of it's some it's just oh my god, it's so beautiful.
I'm dipping a toe in it, and I'm like, I kind of like it, but then it's just like, oh, I still care. And I'm just like, I really want to just stay over here. I like want to go in. I'm just like, no, I want to go
And
in.
see, enjoy your 30s. Let your 30s do what your 30s need to do to prepare you for your 40s. As I'm telling you,
Hmm.
you, my dear, are going to excel absolutely well in your 40s. I see it. I see it.
Don't make my face from my lashes like this mascara. Like,
You are going to body roll very
I
well
appreciate you. Thank
in your
you.
40s. Oh my God. Ooh, when I turned 40, I had a good cry. A good cry. And I'm a fan of crying because you know it's good for you.
Hmm.
And I had a very good cry. And when I finished crying, I said, all right, now, Chris, get up and go show the world that you are and have always been that bitch.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
And 3 years into 40, child, that bitch is that bitching, okay? Okay.
I wish I had one of my fans, but they are all packed up. I don't know why I packed all those up. I just want to hit it, just pop it one time.
And you know
Oh,
what? I started to have one out, but I was like, no, that's a little too much. I really did. You know, that little
oh no, I love it. I put mine up because James literally hates when I do it, but I also do it more in the house now, like just to piss him off because I know it annoys him. Because I always want to go around and just be extra. He's just like, I'm like, so when are we gonna go to the next drag show? He's like, whenever we go to Pittsburgh. I'm like, okay, we can go to Pittsburgh. And he's just like, what? We can just turn. I'm like, we can watch RuPaul's Drag Race. He's like, you can watch Drag Race. I'm gonna watch something else. I'm like, but you don't want to watch it with me? So I'll just start popping the fan out of nowhere. And then if he
Come
knows I'm
on,
actually
James, be a
practicing.
support.
Oh, he was a big support. Oh, he loves it. We went to what is it called? Palace. We went there to Miami last year for my birthday and had a great grand old time, honey. The queens loved him. We had a great time. But the fan, that's all he heard. He was just like 1,000 U's in this audience right now. Because it's just the it's just the fan. I'm
Oh my
always
God, I
doing.
love it.
So every time, like now, every when I go anywhere, I'm literally just collecting fans. Like that's my new collection next to like my mouse ears is just a fan. So it's okay. The fans are welcome here. Okay. Ha!
You know what? The fans sound like it is your outlet.
Probably.
Yeah, the fans sound like it's an outlet.
Probably. I'm trying new things. I mean, I like painting. Painting is kind of my thing because I like go to my. I have I bought a lot of paint. I want to say like towards the end of 2020, and I was like, you know what, I can make my own paint and sip in here, and then we'll just buy like the wooden. I don't know what the actual technical term is, but like the different wooden stencils from Michaels for different holidays and stuff, and we'll
Hmm.
just paint it and like hang it in my office or like hang it on the doors because holidays and seasons are a big thing around my home decor. That's another thing he gets on me about. Uh, so, and I'm like, I like it. I'm like, hey, I say, if it don't match outside, it got to match in here. He's like, but doesn't make any sense. I said, it does make sense, and you'll have a lovely home. Just don't worry about it. It's okay.
It makes
It'll
complete
match.
sense, James. Stop it.
Thank you.
Stop
See,
it.
he'll watch us back, and he could be like, seriously. I'm like, yep. See, someone else said it. See, it's not just me. It's not just me. But I feel I just feel so bubbly and because that was just so powerful and I know I needed that right in that moment. Now I'm gonna just let things be because you're the probably the fifth person has told me just let it happen, just let it be. It's okay, just chill, just stop rushing it. And
Hmm.
I think I've lived my life, like you said, for someone else for so long or in the comparison that I thought I knew what I wanted. But now I'm in a space of answered prayers of I have my partner. We're starting the actual next chapter of our life where we're actually making goals and plans that fit us. And I will look at my some of my other friends in my circle like I want that, I want that, I want that, and then spending more time around them, I'm just like I actually don't want that. I'm okay. And I focus more on my relationship and more what I have going on. And I start asking when you said, Chris, what is your favorite color? And I said, Talia, what is that will really make you happy? Do you want all of this with that pay, or would you want this, and just to chill out? I'm like, I'd rather have this to chill out. Okay, well that's what you want. That's not what everybody else wants. And although you're still gonna be making momentum, even if you have to slow down sometimes because you've been just constantly on go, 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 where you literally drained yourself. And when you drain yourself, that also, of course, sparks your spiral. But just because you may not be on stage right now, you're not a poet. It doesn't mean you're not still a poet. You're not still an author. You're not still a speaker. You are still those things. You're just doing what you need to do for your personal life because life
Hmm.
off stage still exists. Life outside of your book still exists. And you have to know how to navigate those things.
A friend of mine has told me, and it's the 80-20 rule.
Mm-hmm.
20% is your work. That 80%, that's you. And how you divide that 80% into everything that is you, that's up to you. But that 80% is you. That's the 80-20 rule to yourself. 20% should be work. And trust me, I'm still learning it. I'm still learning it.
Okay.
And it's okay. Just be in the moment. Don't rush. Just literally just plant your feet and then put your hands on a flat surface, whether it's your chest, your lap, or whatever it
Oh,
is, and then
it's
just
sweat.
breathe. And that's all you do. Just breathe. Like, all right, nah, I'm telling you, nah.
Yeah. Actually,
Like,
feels kind of
huh?
actually feels kind of nice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, it's not gonna make it get here any faster if you stress yourself out. So why am I going to stress myself out?
Yeah. I mean, Cartman, he tried to force himself 3 months faster, and look where he ended up 500 years in the future, and he missed the whole we drop. So, I mean, that's quoting South Park because I'm a big cartoon. But I'm like, when you said that, I was just like, yep. When Cartman couldn't be patient and he was rushing the moment, he ended up missing the whole thing. Not
Hmm.
by just not by just like a little bit, but a lot. So
It's just like when you're making your favorite or making your favorite dish. If you rush it, you're gonna miss an ingredient or two, and you can make it and come out right. Same thing for the moment. Same thing for the moment.
so we gonna just take it in strides, and we just
It's
gonna
like
breathe.
making Kool-Aid without. It's like making Kool-Aid without sugar. After you just got colored water. That's it. You don't have Kool-Aid. You have colored water.
Colored water. I can't. So as we are wrapping up, Juan, we're gonna thank you again because we know whatever you're gonna drop next is gonna be the great way to end the show. So we want to know whatever it is that you want to tell the listeners, the viewers now. What is it that they're only going to hear here, and what's the advice for the future?
Huh. I'll start with the advice for the future. And the advice for the future is just remain present. Remain present. That's my advice for the future. Remain present. Um, what am I looking forward to and working on? Is going to drop, and what y'all can look forward to for me? I don't know. I'd rather keep that a little secret because there are a few things that are brewing, but I do want to keep them on the hush before I reveal them. That's all I have.
Okay, well, honey, Hebrews, I love it. I'm sorry, I'm all for the puns today. I don't know why. I have no idea why. I'm such a nerd, but I love it. So I have to get it together after because you know how there are moments you can crack your own self up. That was the
That
moment
was that
right
moment for you.
there. I've been waiting to drop that all day long. I don't know why. I don't know where. It was just stuck in my head. Thank you so much for coming today and just speaking life, preaching, and just being your absolute wonderful self today. This has been amazing. And remember, you can support Chris Thomas at this Instagram right here that's below. Also, find that, buy their book. It's also listed all on their website and their social media. All the links will be listed below. If you have any other questions for them, please reach out to them. They would love to hear from you, and we would love to hear from you what you thought about this episode. How did anything that we said resonate with you? Let us know. Tell us in the comments. Also, send it to us via social media. We respond, don't we? Don't we respond?
I'm a fan of when people follow whoever. It's common courtesy to follow back. Don't collect followers. If people follow you, just follow them back. They're following you for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, Consensual following that is though. But yeah,
I love that. Yes, consensual because consent is sexy and it's
it
important
is.
and necessary and
Mhm.
necessary.
Obey the
So,
law. Consent.
yes, the law because we ain't got no time. No, honey, nobody has time for that. Well, This has been another wonderful episode of your Heard It Here podcast with me, your girl DTC Heard. Thank you so much, Chris Thomas, for being here today. We hope to see you again soon back on the show. We would love to have you again, whether this is the morning, afternoon, or evening. May you all have a wonderful day and be safe.
Thank you.